$70,000. That's how much my parents spent for me to go to IMG Academy to do a 5th year of high school after I graduated high school because I broke my leg my junior year of college. And look, I don't come from a super wealthy family. My family's done okay for themselves, but they didn't have $70,000 lying around. What they did was they sold their house, took the equity that they had built up over their entire lifetime, and slapped that down for me to go to IMG and do a 5th year of high school. Now, why would they do that? And even crazier, why would my parents and I say that it was worth it if I only made $246 playing professional baseball? Why would that be worth it? And for those of you guys that don't know me, now I run an online consulting company that does, over 6 figures a month. Last month we did multi 6 figures in a single month. And, it's funny because now I'm quote unquote successful, but it's not because I played 15 years in the major leagues. It's crazy, and when you look back at where I was at that time, 17, 18 years old, I had no idea that this is where I was going to end up. So why did my parents spend that money in the first place? Yes, I said it's because I broke my leg my junior year of high school, but let me take you back to give you guys a little bit of context. So I grew up living all over the place. I lived in Beijing, China. I lived in Guatemala. My first language was Spanish. Then we lived a little bit, all over the place. I ended up living in Cave Creek, Arizona until I was about 15 years old. And I have a June birthday. So for those of you guys that, live in the United States and understand how sports works, June birthdays, typically, at least in Arizona, you're going to be later on the cutoff, AKA I was one of the younger people in my grade. Okay, so then we move to Virginia going into my sophomore year of high school. And now I'm in a new place where I've never been recruited by any of the schools out there. And I'm going through this transition and I lacked a bunch of confidence in myself. I didn't have any friends. Like when I moved to Virginia, I felt like I lost my swagger, right? I was 15 years old. I was super insecure. I just got my braces off, but I wish that I would have had them on longer. And, I honestly, I wasn't really accepted by the people there. I wasn't really accepted by, the other kids on the baseball team because here I am, this kid coming in and they had, paid their dues. They'd been going to this school since it was a 7 through 12 school. They'd been going to this school for, 4 years now, and they knew the coach and they'd put in their time. And then here I come in and it seemed like they just, boom, handed me the starting second baseman job. I definitely deserved it. I definitely earned it. But, I walk into this environment where everything is super brand new. And after that first year, I was getting some decent looks. After my sophomore year of high school, I started getting some decent looks from mid-major schools, Virginia Commonwealth, a little bit of East Carolina. But I really wanted to go to an ACC school. That was my goal. I really wanted to go to an ACC school. So after my sophomore year, I had some decent opportunities. I ended up playing towards the end of the summer with the Evo Shield Canes, and then in the fall with their national team. So this is obviously, they're called Canes Baseball now. They're a gigantic organization. Shout out Jeff Petty if you ever watch this. You run an absolutely amazing operation. Would love to interview you one day. Anyway, the Canes are, at the time we were called the Evo Shield Canes, and I was playing for the national team. Okay, and so at the end of, I was very fortunate. I got to go to Team Evo Shield with Jupiter and played with a bunch of absolute studs, dudes that are still in the major leagues right now as a result of playing with the Canes. Unbelievably grateful for my time playing with them. And after that fall, I didn't really have any offers from the schools that I wanted, despite the fact that, my teammates were going to North Carolina, South Carolina, Clemson, Florida, all over the place. Our roster was like a who's who. It was insane how talented our teams were, especially this is back in like 2013, before these super teams now, where it seems like the Canes have 20 first round picks every single year, but I digress. So I don't have any offers. Not that I don't really have any offers. I don't have any offers after my junior fall. And I was slotted to play for one of the regional teams. And my parents and I had kind of been dabbling with this idea of me potentially reclassifying, because now I'm in this new environment. Like these ACCSE schools are seeing me for the first time. I'm probably not like at the top of their recruiting list because looking back, I like wasn't, talented enough for them to go, yeah, that's our guy. And at one point I was, a top 250 player in the country in my class, but we'll get to that. Okay. So we're like looking at potentially reclassifying, doing a post-grad year. Like we're pretty committed to doing it. And so, getting placed on the regional team was kind of like, okay, well, maybe I should do another year of high school. Maybe that's going to give me a little bit more time to work on my tools and things like that. So we decide like, okay, we're going to start telling people that in some way, shape, or form, we're going to reclassify. We're going to do it. So we reclassify. I redo basically my junior year as for that summer. And plus, I was young enough to play with the grade below me. So we start telling people, hey, I'm gonna reclassify. I'm gonna do another year of high school. So I come out that spring like, okay, I'm playing for the 16U Canes national team. I'm the man. I'm gonna get a bunch of offers. Everything is fantastic. I come out like feeling really good. I get invited to the Junior National Showcase, which is like a really big showcase. And I come out that summer, and halfway through my spring season, I was hitting like over 500, which if you're not a baseball fan, it was really, really, really good. I was on track to have like a first team all-state type of year. And so the Canes are hosting this event in Richmond, Virginia. So Saturday, I go like 2 for 4 against our rival. I hit a home run. Everything's awesome. Sunday, they're hosting a showcase event in Richmond. And so I decided to go because we're going to get some video and everything's going to be all fine and dandy. I took like the best batting practice of my life in the cage, and I'm in the outfield shagging fly balls while other people are getting their video and taking batting practice, right? So somebody hits a fly ball over my head. I start going after it, and I'm not really thinking anything of it. The fence is like a little bit short. It was shallow all the way around, like more shallow than typical fences are. And I was playing infield at the time, so like I wasn't really, I guess, aware, and there was no warning track. So anyway, I'm going back for this ball, and like I'm kind of messing around, talking to the guy next to me, and boom, I run into the wall, and I get up, and I'm like, oh, something's wrong. I thought that I had rolled my ankle really bad. So I kind of limp off the field, and I'm talking to the Canes guys, and they're like, yeah, we're going to go to a doctor. And so I go into the doctor's office, and we get the x-rays, and it comes back that I fractured my left fibula in 2 places after running into that wall. And I remember sitting there in the doctor's office just crying. Like sobbing, absolutely sobbing. And a couple weeks before, I just told my mom, like, wow, I really feel like baseball's not just, like, I'm not just a baseball player. Like, baseball's not who I am, it's just what I do. And boy, did God test me, because I went through an absolute loop. It took me 12 years to learn actually that lesson, not to put your identity in anything else but God. But anyway, I digress. This video is not a spiritual video. I just remember sitting in the doctor's office sobbing, like bawling my eyes out. And I was like, my season's over. It's 8 to 12 week recovery time. My season's over. And I placed all this massive importance because I was objectively, I was one of the best players in the state of Virginia at the time. I was on the Canes national team. Like, things were looking really good for me. I was dating this girl at the time who was like a really high-level soccer player. We were a power couple. She ended up playing soccer at LSU. Anyway, that was a little flex. I'm pretty sure she just got engaged the other day. Anyway, so I end up going back to tell my coach. He's super upset, obviously, because I got hurt at an event that wasn't for our high school team. So I'm out the rest of the year. And at that point, as soon as I broke my leg, it's like, okay, well, now it makes a lot of sense for us to really do this reclassification. So, we start looking at a bunch of different options, and it wasn't going to work with, like, there was a local private school that we were looking at. It wasn't going to work being able to reclassify to them. They didn't end up getting us any financial aid. And my dad's like, hey, well, what if we sent you to IMG? And I felt unbelievably guilty. I've actually never told him this, but I felt so unbelievably guilty for the fact that, they were going to send me to IMG because I knew how expensive it was. And I didn't really think that I was worth them spending that type of money on me, to be honest. And anyway, we visit IMG while we're down there. We were down there for a tournament. We end up visiting IMG, and we commit to going to IMG. And my parents are like, yeah, we're going to pay for it. Ended up getting an offer to go to the University of Notre Dame. There's a gigantic other story, bunch of twists and turns. After my freshman year at Notre Dame, I end up transferring. I go to a junior college in Houston. After that year in junior college, I go to the University of South Carolina. I'm the starting shortstop. And at University of Notre Dame, my freshman year, I hit leadoff on opening day. And I actually ended up going 0 for 4 with 4 strikeouts. Funny enough. But then I go to this junior college. It's called San Jac. We were an absolute powerhouse. We were so good. I play with some absolute studs. I get so much experience and knowledge. That is at San Jac. I actually went to San Jac because my eventual business partner, who I played with in high school for one game, put me on to the coaches at San Jac. Okay? So I ended up going to San Jac after University of Notre Dame. After that year at San Jac, I ended up having a great year. I played in the Junior College World Series. We got to hang out in Grand Junction. I got to meet people from all walks of life. I got the experience to go to the University of Notre Dame, go to those football games. I mean, I ran out on the field as the leadoff hitter at the University of Notre Dame as a freshman. Okay. Then my junior year, I end up being the opening day starting shortstop in the University of South Carolina. After being an outfielder all through high school, somehow I convinced the world that now I'm a shortstop, and I will never forget. I'm getting chills right now thinking about it. I will never forget that feeling, running out on the field and hearing like the Gamecock like noise and like the crowd. I will never forget that feeling as long as I live. And then I end up transferring the next year to the university, or to Southern Illinois University. I set a school home run record there. We won 40 games, changed the entire trajectory of the program. I played 10 days of independent pro baseball. And on my 24th birthday, I quit. I make $246 as a professional baseball player. And my parents spent $70,000 for me to go to IMG Academy. So that way I could get the best opportunity. I end up going to the University of Notre Dame. Who can say that they lettered at the University of Notre Dame? That they played baseball at the University of Notre Dame. And then I played at one of the most historic junior college programs of all time. One of the best Division I baseball programs in history at University of South Carolina. And then getting the opportunity to play for a Division I school and winning 40 games at a mid-major and setting a school home run record. And also meeting my future business partner, who we ended up making over $250,000, that being the reason I left my 9-to-5 job. And then as a result, catapulting now into, I've made multiple millions of dollars in my current business now. So my parents spending $70,000 for me to go to IMG Academy. Was the training awesome? Yeah, it was fantastic. The training is awesome. Living that lifestyle prepared me so much to go into the University of Notre Dame and be like the most physically mature freshman, the most emotionally, well, probably not the most emotionally mature freshman. All I cared about was, partying and stuff like that. That's probably why things didn't end up working out for me. But, I went into the University of Notre Dame already knowing what the college lifestyle was like. I went into University of Notre Dame already knowing what morning lifts were like, and then practice, and then class, and then more practice, and then do it again. Like, I already knew what that was like going into the University of Notre Dame. Okay, so tactically, did IMG Academy prepare me for Notre Dame? Absolutely, absolutely. But what it did was it sent me on this trajectory that nobody could have ever planned. Did I get a direct one-to-one correlation? I put in $70,000 and then get a $2 million contract? No. Sorry, mom and dad. That didn't happen. But the man that I became as a result of going to IMG Academy and learning so much about myself, and then going to Notre Dame, transferring all over the place, meeting all these different people, having all these connections, having all these experiences, has shaped me and morphed me into the man that I am today. And I wouldn't trade it for the world. So, did I make enough money in baseball to justify that $70,000 expense? No. But if you look at who I am today and the trajectory that I've been on and the trajectory that I'm going to continue to go on and the impact that I'm going to have and the generational transformation that I am going to have as a result of the opportunities that my parents gave me, that's worth it every single day of the week. And so many times people will get anchored like, if I spend this money or if I invest into whatever it is, I need to see a return on it. I need to see this narrow idea of what a successful return is. Who would have predicted that I'd be doing what I'm doing right now? Nobody. Nobody. And so, what I've learned is that when you invest in yourself, and obviously my parents invested into me, and this is really something that I've taken into my own life, is when you invest in yourself and when you bet on yourself and you fully commit, you cannot lose. You cannot lose. I've spent over $150,000 on my own business education, and I've made multiple millions of dollars back. I will continue to invest in myself because of that lesson. It's not about seeing the direct return. It's about building yourself into the asset, into the person who is capable of so much more. Okay? And if you choose to get value out of your investments, whatever it is, whether it's a lesson, whether it's actually money, whether it's an opportunity, whatever it is, you can choose the value that you get out of it. And that's what I learned. And that is why my parents spent $70,000 that they didn't have to send me to IMG Academy. I only made $246 as a professional baseball player, and it was 100% worth it, and they would make that trade every single time. And I'm going to do the same for my children.